What is up, Na Nation? We're back. This is another episode of Nothing But Miss, episode 4. We're calling this one Swish or Brick. I'm Bah, joined by Melky. Buddy, how is it going?
Yeah, it's going, man. It's Melky here, always shooting bricks the Milky Way. But I'm actually doing better than anyone who has Rogers services today because wow,
Yeah.
that sucked.
Dude, not to date this podcast, but an absolute joke that this company pretty much took down all of Canada.
It was hilarious because I know a bunch of people that are on Rogers and they couldn't get through, or they're like, "Is your phone working? My phone isn't working." I'm like, "Well, that sounds like a you problem because you're with Rogers."
I woke up and I'm like, maybe a day or two, I forgot to pay my phone bill on time, but fuck it, it's like $100, right?
Yeah.
And then it said no service and nothing was going through. And I'm like, did they actually turn off my fucking phone after 100? I was going to snap. So once I was talking to people on Instagram, they're like, oh, I'm trying to text or call you. Nothing's going through. I felt a bit better. So at least we're all in it together.
Yeah, we are. Let's all hold hands. Kumbaya.
Okay. So the reason we're all here holding hands for this episode, your Toronto Raptors. They are currently sitting 24 wins, 34 losses for 10th in the Eastern. Melky, how are we feeling about this, buddy, at this point in the season? With this season, COVID season.
But the COVID season, well,
from hell.
It's from hell. It's a roller coaster ride from hell because we're going down, we're going up, we're going down, we're going up. There's no consistency. It's a struggle sometimes to watch this team play. And there's a lot of nonsense that's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a lot of uncertainty. I don't know if they're trying to feel things out. I don't know if it's COVID that's, the reason or part of the reason. It's just a dumpster fire right now. It's a dumpster fire swimming in a pool of piss. That's what it is.
Pretty graphic. So feelings are known. I got to tell you, I think you're kind of right in a way, whatever's going on behind the scenes. And I feel like now they might even have a plan to tank. And these last few games have kind of changed that. And here's what I'm going to say personally. I actually don't mind it. I like that these young guys are playing well. And I know it's kind of shitting on the tank and our draft pick, but I would rather the player development for this team going above how it is right now. And our young guys like Malachi Flynn, I know we're going to get into it later, but these guys are buzzing and I love to see it. So you know what? We weren't getting Cade. That's just a simple fact, but we're still going to get a decent player somewhere. And I'd rather see these players playing well with everybody sitting out. Apparently, Pascal with that shoulder injury.
Yes, his shoulder.
How do you feel? Do you want the team to tank?
I'm still in the middle because I feel because the East is so lousy. I don't think the East is going to allow them to tank because if you look at it, look how close they are to having the 10th spot or they're in that bubble spot where they play for a play-in.
Yeah.
The East is trash.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
It just might make it a little difficult from the tank. I do like the player development. I do like seeing other players come in like Malachi Flynn and what's his name? Giuseppe. Starts with a G.
Yeah, Giuseppe or whatever.
Giuseppe, yeah. And sorry, he's not Italian.
Got his second 10-day.
Yeah, he got a second 10-day contract. He's been playing well. Boucher last night. Boucher was on fire with 30 points. His stroke.
Out of Montreal.
Yeah, pride of Montreal. Montreal stand up. There's another couple players on that were playing from Montreal last night. Boucher is developing into a nice player. It's good in that sense, but I still want them to compete. I still think they might not be able to make noise, but they can make things interesting. The team is not awful by any stretch of the imagination. It's not the Atlanta Hawks from 2 years ago or the New York Knicks from last year. It's still a pretty competitive team, so I'm on the fence.
Yeah. Speaking of last night, your Raps, they won 112-106. You already said it. Boucher, 31 points. Gary, 23 points. This guy is becoming a hero, getting a statue already. Yeah. And Flynn with 15 points, 8 rebounds. Yeah. So I'm right there with you. I love these young guys playing well. I really never in any sport care about the tank and getting a young draft pick, man. I'm a Leaf fan. I've been through enough bullshit and the poor years with the Raps and Jays early, like 2000s, whatever. I never You know what? If you're a shit team and you deserve first overall for being that bad, then fine, whatever. But I'd rather have these guys play. The starters are pretty much just going to be sitting out a bunch now, I think, at the end of the season. That is what it is.
Yeah, I can't see Lowry, OG, Pascal, Freddie. I can't see them playing extended minutes and extended consecutive games because, realistically, they're basically playing for next year. But we'll see. I hope I'm wrong, but it looks like it right now.
Well, Charlotte, they hold 8th place. They've got only 4 wins above us. And then below us, Washington is shit in the bed so hard. We are not going to catch them for being that shit. We'll talk about it with trades later, but Orlando's given up and fully committed to the rebuild. So we're definitely that in the middle, lower tier of the middle team. Like, that's just where we are. We're definitely, luckily, if everybody's kind of healthy, we're going to get into that 8th spot. But what, Philly's in first now? I don't see us without Kawhi beating Philly this year, man.
No, we're not beating Philly. We're not beating Brooklyn, and we're not beating Milwaukee. No. The rest, it's up to anything can happen. The New York Knicks are on a 6-game or 7-game winning streak. They can play defense. Thibodeau, even though I don't like his face, the man knows defensive schemes. I don't know, but I think if you get in to that 6th spot, or 7th or 4th spot, maybe in the play-in you can make some noise. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell with this team. I just don't know.
Well, the picture was supposed to be clear after the trade deadline, my friend, which happened so long ago. The Raps, we were told we're going to give Lowry. We were going to possibly go in the rebuild. The season hadn't gone the way it is. And actually, we end up keeping Kyle. So before we get into the 3 trades the Raptors did do trade deadline, I want your opinion on the trade that didn't happen. What do you think about Kyle Lowry staying? Because I'm pretty sure we made, or at least I made my thoughts pretty clear on the last podcast we did before the trade deadline that I'd rather have Kyle stay.
I was happy he stayed. I think unless you were going to get back something over the moon, it wasn't worth it. I mean, Lowry is a soldier. He is Captain Raptor. He definitely will have a statue and his number retired. Let him go out with grace and class. I think we owe him that. So I was quite pleased that he didn't get moved. Plus, Messiah wanted a Kings ransom. Like that Miami deal. I don't know how close it was, but they didn't want to give up Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero, and I don't blame Miami. Those 2 players can shoot. But at the same time, I think Lowry would have put them over, at least put them in competitive spirits in the East. But they elected not to, and same with Philly. So I'm happy he's here.
Yeah, same. He definitely would have put those 2 over the top. Philly would have been scary with Kyle.
I think so. And have Joel Embiid or have Simmons off the ball. Whew, dirty possibilities, but not in the fold.
All right. So why don't you hit us with the trades that happened? Why don't you give me the first one?
Do you want me to hit it hard, or do you want me to work my way up?
Well, whatever. We'll just go trade by trade.
Okay. Well, we'll go with the less sexy trade. The first one. Well, that wasn't the first one, but the Raptors traded Terrence Davis to the Sacramento Kings for a 2nd-round pick. You know what? I was glad this happened. Terrence fell out of favor once that whole situation happened in New York. His game wasn't the same. You could tell his confidence wasn't the same. I don't know if the franchise had faith in him anymore, but at least leave it to Masai to get something for nothing.
Yeah, I agree. I gave this trade a B-. I think it's a decent return for a guy who has obviously lost favor with Nurse. His minutes have been dwindling steadily. So, I mean, a 2nd-round pick for this guy, you know what? It works out not only for the team, but for Terrence as well, man. Good luck to him. So it's a win-win on both sides. That's why I'm giving it a B-.
Yeah, and he gets to be in Sacramento, California. So
yeah,
definitely a win-win.
Yeah, Sacktown, baby. Okay, 2nd trade. We've got Matt Thomas heading to Utah for another future 2nd-round pick. I gave this one a B- again. I have Thomas had minutes dwindling, so good for him and the team. Pretty much the same thing as Terrence Davis. It was 2 guys that were just kind of falling out of favor, depth guys with the young guys playing as well as they did. Gary coming in, all these guys. Shooting guard, we didn't have enough minutes to go around.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Maybe you know what? Maybe I'll give it a B. No, no, maybe I'll give it a C plus. He it was the same, yeah, like Terrence Davis fell out of favor. He can shoot, he's a streaky shooter. You actually make the rich richer. Utah is the number one 3-point shooting team, so you just added another weapon to their arsenal, but he'll probably ride the pine. But it's nice to have. So yeah, second round pick again, making something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Masai, good on you.
Yeah, we're gonna have a little debate later, but Utah is a scary team in the West. Like they are sick. They've been dominant all season.
Never thought anything good would come out of Utah, but here we are.
I fucking hate the hate on the Jazz. When they were joking about it at the All-Star game, I was getting heated as a Toronto fan. I'm like, man, don't disrespect the city like that. Okay, buddy. Give us the big trade. This is it.
And the big kaboom,
Yeah.
the boom shakalaka of trades. No, it chokes me up sometimes just actually mentioning it because I love this player. But Norm Powell, beloved Raptor, champion, soldier, was dealt to Portland for Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood. I'm going to give this trade, as much as I hate to see Norm go, I'm going to give this trade an A-. And I'm going to tell you why. Gary Trent is 22 years old. Gary Trent can shoot the lights out. The game is moving towards that. I know their numbers. If you look at their numbers, they're very similar this season. But Gary Trent has more upside. Norm, I feel like he is, honestly, I would love a Norm on my team, but I think Norm is going to plateau at right now. That's it for Norm, where Gary Trent is trending up. So a big round of applause for the Raptors as a franchise for acquiring this man. I actually think he could be our star going forward.
Yeah, he's winning over the city. He's winning over me. I almost went A-. I gave this trade a B+. I hate to see Norm go. I think he's going to do so well on Portland, a gritty, work hard team. It choked me up when he forgot which side to start that first game. He was after side, and then all his comments were days after he was still choked up about it, man. I just love that type of heart. Rodney Hood, good pickup, just an extra body. He's a restricted free agent or a free agent going into 2022 as well. So don't really know his future with the Raps, but decent. And the main guy, Gary Trent, like I already said, man, he's winning me over. He's winning the city over. He's repping Jays in 6th gear. Like he's saying all the right things. The interviews are amazing. I mean, he's setting his own personal best and team best. It's just, I hate to see Norm go, but Gary is a younger, almost like you're saying, a better upside of Norm, more manageable cap going forward. Yeah, man, I almost want to say A-, but I will say B+. Like this trade was a good trade. This was Masai and Bobby Webster in action. This was a typical Raps trade where you hate to see the guy go because pretty much we fall in love with every player unless you're Baines or just someone who's just so brutal.
Yeah, go back to Australia.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you hate to see him go, but just a great trade. And like you said, Gary Trent, I want him to sign. This guy's doing all the right things, dropping 40, buzzer beaters, whatever.
Yeah, it was a great basketball trade, and that's what people need to realize. It was great for both teams. Portland gets a champion, a guy who's been through the grind. Portland's always almost there. They just can't get over that speed bump. Norm's done it as a six-man.
They bring a champion.
Yeah, as a 6-man, as a starter, Norm's done it. So that's some championship pedigree right there. Where I think that'll help McCollum and Dame and Nurkic and all those boys. It'll help them in the long run. Especially with the West being wide open this year. That's why they call it the Wild Wild West. So yeah, Norm is gonna pay dividends there. And just like Gary Trent is a guy we might be able to build around, because Pascal is not Pascal. Freddie is a great player, but he's not your number one option. And OG's the defensive stopper. So you need that assassin. And I think Gary Trent can easily be that assassin.
Yeah, Gary is a beauty. Norm, I wish you well, buddy, but it's time now to focus on the new Raps, which Gary Trent Jr., by the way, since becoming a Raptor, he's averaging 17.8 points per game, 1.6 assists, 3.6 rebounds. I mean, I already said it. He hit a buzzer beater against the Warriors, 44 points versus Cleveland. Like, dude, this guy is winning us over.
Yeah, he's like I said, straight assassin. You want a player like that who's got ice in his veins. That's what you need. You need someone who's fearless. I think he is embracing taking that role, and being that guy. You can depend on me to hit those game buzzers, or you can depend on me to take over games, and we are missing that this year. And I'm glad that we were able to acquire such a player.
Yeah, it's unreal too. At a time where we're sitting, resting a bunch of guys, that we're giving players opportunities to step up, and the new huge acquisition is doing just that. And he's winning. I just love it, man, the way he's playing, and might be taking over for Serge, most stylish guy on the Raps. Come on.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, OG might have something to say about that, but
yeah. Hey, I love a little good rivalry, man.
That's a little fashion wars. But we forgot one important move the Raptors made. It was a little later, but it was a signing of another fellow Canadian, Khem Birch.
Yeah.
Montreal stand up. He's looked pretty good. I was watching the game last night. He's 6'9". He's 233. Like I said, straight out of Montreal. He's averaging 9.5 points, 0.3 assists, and 6 rebounds. Something we lack. What are your thoughts on our new player?
Yeah, well, the two main things I was going to say was rebounds, which you just brought up, and for his size, man, he's moving well. So I literally, and no offense to him, had zero expectations. I wanted him to do well simply for the fact that he's Canadian. First and foremost, that's what mattered to me. So the fact that he is in his role, limited capacity, whatever it is, I think it's great. And I agree, man. That was a fun game to watch last night.
It was incredible. I had that on with the Leafs game on, and I was going back and forth, and I couldn't keep my eyes off the Raps game down the buzzer or down the stretch, because it was anybody's game.
Leafs are a fucking joke.
Well, yeah, that's a different pod for a different time.
But yeah, no, that's what I'm getting at though is, man, I just started watching the Raptors game more. Like, it was just fun to watch. I don't even care. And then I'm going online after, like, I love to, I'm a lurker, man, online. I don't really participate in comments, but I love reading comments. And all these people pissed off, like, I'm glad to see the guys win, but this is affecting the tank. I don't give a shit. If you're going to play basketball like that, I looked at it. The Raptors have the second hardest schedule remaining for the season. So take these wins where we can get them, because there's a chance we might get shit pumped soon.
Yeah, there's a good chance. There's also a good chance we could persevere and turn it around. But, man, like I said, this is one of those crazy roller coaster rides you seem to, like, not get off of. So who knows? But either way, it's the Raptors. I cheer for them.
Yeah. Another signing, by the way, that just happened, Yuta Watanabe. Beauty. I love this guy's work ethic. Didn't like so much that he got postered earlier in the season, and I'll bring that up later. But I'm happy with this signing, man. And apparently, I was reading it too. The Raptors did it perfect with time out east, so it's a huge announcement out there. It's just more fans, more viewership, just great all around for the organization.
Oh yeah, he well deserved, hard worker. He knows his role. He's willing to get into the nitty gritty. He grinds it out. Underrated shooter. You don't think of him as a shooter, but he can actually shoot the rock. Did you know out far east, he's the number 1 jersey sold out there?
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, represent.
I believe it though, man. And by the way, speaking of jerseys quickly, even though we didn't have this in the notes, but you and I talked about this in our text, not a fan of those perps.
No, if you're gonna do perps, you got to do the classic vintage, old school perps. You can't just have the stupid triangle on and slap on purple and black. It just looks hideous.
I hate the generic arrow. It's like those people when there's create a team in FIFA or 2K or NH, and they just put no effort into the jersey. You have to wear those still.
Well, that's it. Did anyone take that into consideration? You still have to wear them. Just because you think it's a good idea doesn't mean it's necessarily a good idea, especially when it comes to light.
Well, and some of those fan concepts we were sending to each other, those are unreal.
Yeah.
Like, who's in charge of these PR and marketing departments? Like, just corporate going, yep, great, purple, Vint.
Maybe it's Stevie Wonder. I don't know.
All right, speaking more about the organization, Raps were recently fined $25,000 for rest and injury reporting. How do you feel about that, Mel?
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I do too. Do it again.
I think they are going to. At this point, I mean, we alluded to this earlier. I don't think the Raptors care about this season. They're looking in the future, so if they can rest their big stars, they're going to, and it's made basically a fuck you to the NBA because we have a disadvantage. We're not at home. Florida is not our home. It's America's Wang, so I don't care what anybody says. No fans. COVID hit this team hard as well. So what do you expect? What do you expect us to just go out there with a smile on our faces and play? No, like cut us some slack.
Yeah, it's a huge detriment to the team playing in Tampa, no home games. All 70 away games. So it's complete bullshit. I love it. You know what? The Raps are not the first team to do this.
No.
They're not going to be the last. And if you were watching the jump or first take or any of that stuff, they were talking about it. You knew this was going to happen they were talking in the NBA, waiting for teams to do this again, and they were going to start finding them. So you know what? Screw it. I think if the Raps, I was reading, if they did it for the rest of the season, it's like maybe 400, 500K total. Whatever. Best money spent. Screw them.
And just get your checkbook out to Maple Leaf Sports.
They don't give a shit about us. We never get Christmas games. We never get recognition. We can't even get into that because I'll just get heated.
Yeah, no, but no. I'm happy for them taking the stand. I hope they do it again.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say too, Gary Trent before, credit to Nick Nurse putting that guy shooting guard and changing the formation. He fits perfectly in this system, and he is playing better than he ever did. So huge shout out to Nick.
Yeah, it's just a swag of confidence. You can tell when someone's on, and you can tell when someone embraces it too. I think he's up for the challenge. His dad played here. His dad is the same type of player, not as gifted, but same intangibles. So let's go. I might have to get a Gary Trent jersey next year.
Dude, don't say that. I've been waiting for a jersey. So, but Lowry's so classic. You know what I mean? Like you can get a Lowry jersey, and then it doesn't matter if he leaves or whatever because it's timeless. It's like getting a Joe Carter. I almost said Carlos Delgado. Don't know why I said that.
Yeah, no. I mean, Delgado was cool.
Delgado jersey. Maybe subconsciously I'm trying to justify. I love Carlos. But yeah, maybe I'll get Gary Trent. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about with the Raps before we move on to the trade deadline?
No, I think we've covered everything. Let's go Raps.
Yeah, tough schedule coming up. Boys, just have fun, work hard like they are, and give us some enjoyable basketball because this season has been shite.
With a capital S.
Okay, end of Raptor talk. Let's move on to the NBA trade deadline.
What a deadline it was.
Yeah.
16 transactions between the follow-up and the actual day. A lot of moves, Bob. Why don't you get into it?
Yeah, so clearly every trade deadline is overhyped. Everybody is talking about all the big names going to be moved, and nobody usually does. But there was a couple this time. Like I mentioned earlier, Orlando was offloading. Vucevic, it's gone.
They're giving away players, man.
Giving away. So we'll do this in order. So the biggest player moved. Miami Heat are loading up. These guys grab Victor Oladipo. Huge for Miami. Huge.
Massive. It's another scorer. Another guy who can create for himself. It helps Jimmy Butler. It helps all the other shooters. Another tough. I mean, he's not the same player since he tore his ACL, but at the same time, this guy can go off any given night. So good on Miami. Steal, actually. It's probably the steal of the trade deadline.
Yeah, you're never going to doubt Houston because they always seem to turn shit into gold, getting draft picks and whatever. But Oladipo, huge from Miami. They've been hit with some injury problems lately. It's been a bit of a struggle for Miami this year.
Yeah, but this is the thing. The bubble creates a lot, just like in hockey. Is Columbus really that good? No. It's the same thing. Was Miami really that good? They were very gritty last year, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but it's Miami. It's Jimmy Butler is not going to win you a championship.
Yeah.
Bam Adebayo is not going to win you a championship. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, those boys are not going to win you a championship. I think they just fell into favor with them in the bubble, and the real Miami Heat team is showing up. So getting Oladipo is huge because it just, like I said, it adds another dynamic scorer to the roster, which they need.
Yeah, and I mean, Pat Riley wasn't done there. They added two more. They added Trevor Ariza, and then I'm going to butcher this name. So I'm just going to say Jellica, the last name. Nemanja Bjelica, man. I'm not going to get that name right. But yeah, hopefully you know who I'm talking about. So Riley's obviously, Miami's in. That's what he's saying right now with these trades. They pretty much gained the most out of the trade deadline, I would say, and probably have the best grade.
Yeah, I would give Miami because, and you know what's funny? That was one of the last trades reported that night or that day, sorry. So you thought, okay, Miami, because I think they were flirting with getting Kyle Lowry, but it didn't work out. And then all of a sudden, because Oladipo did not want to re-sign with Houston, he turned down a 2-year extension. And I think Miami swooped in and said, well, okay, we need to do something. If we don't do anything, we may as well just pack it up this season. So they went out and acquired Oladipo, and it was a steal. Like, it was like one of the last trades to be reported. So good on them. Like, Riley is smart. Like, Riley is Mr. Calm, Cool, Collective. He knows what he's doing. He's been around the block for so many years. You know, I always have faith in Pat Riley. I hate his slicked hair, but I always have faith in him.
It's crazy too that most of the main players in the James Harden trade from like going to Houston are pretty much gone from that team. Like, that's a quick turnover for that massive blockbuster just earlier this season.
Yeah, but I think Houston wanted to load up with picks, right? The whole thing is you get your picks. The traders are luxuries if they want to stay, but that's a whole mess right there. It might turn around in a couple of years with the draft picks, but that's a mess. I wouldn't want to be there right now.
Yeah. Okay, so sticking with the East, like we said, Orlando unloaded, and they're trying to go for worst record. So first off, they sent Vucevic, 30 years old, to the Chicago Bulls for Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter Jr., and 2 first-round picks. We'll start with that trade. What do you think about that one?
That's a home run for Chicago.
No shit, dude. Chicago out of nowhere saying they want one of those last playoff spots.
They finally give Zach LaVine someone to ride shotgun with. Vucevic is a bona fide scorer. This guy can go inside, he can go outside. You know what? Kudos to Chicago. I haven't said that about the Chicago Bulls in a very long time, but kudos. You're finally doing something right. The ownership is finally getting it. And that must make the city of Chicago very happy.
I was about to say, man, if I was a Bulls fan, I would be fired up. Like you said, they got Zach. It's now a 1-2 in Chicago. This is the first real statement where they're going to build with this new team, and they're saying not only are we going to be a playoff team for years to come, but we're going to be trying for a playoff team this year. And Chicago has not been like that in the recent past, man. And they're such a historic team, obviously, because of MJ, and historic to us.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the glory days that they want to get past. They haven't done anything since Michael Jordan, so this is great. Like, at least they're telling their fan base, hey, we're going for it this year. It's wide open. Why not? They could make some damage. Why not? You know, put a little dent in one of the top 3 teams. I think it'd be fun. I love underdogs, so let's go Bulls.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. Yeah. Hard to cheer for any Eastern team, but yeah, I'm not upset if Chicago wins some playoff games. Okay, Speaking of Orlando, their second trade, and before some devastating news for this other team, they sent Aaron Gordon to Denver. And this looked like a great trade for Denver as well. I mean, not the biggest addition, but it's great to go with the starting 2.
Well, this one would have been this trade was great. Hearing about it, because I don't know if you remember, you asked where do you think Gordon was going, and I said look for Denver. Look for Denver to make some noise because they lost out on
yes, you did say that.
On Jeremy Grant, who went to Detroit, and they haven't had a player like that. And Gordon's a way better player than Jeremy Grant. He just checks all the boxes. They now have they did have a 3-headed monster. And Gordon is going to relieve a lot from the Joker and Murray and the rest of the squad. But I will say this, if there's a time to shine now, Porter Jr., do it now. This is your time to shine. You complained about not getting enough touches last season. This is your time to shine, buddy. Put up or shut up.
Yeah, great call, man. Those guys are fighting for jobs on that team, so you're definitely right. Put up or shut up. You and I had already been talking about Denver possibly being our bandwagon team just because of the Canadian connection, and we were fired up the way they were playing. Even though they weren't necessarily underdogs compared to some of the West, especially the Lakers, Utah, what have you. Mm-hmm. So We're going to get into what happened in a bit later. But yeah, we were both fired up. I thought this was a great deal for them. And you know what? It's time for him to step up too, because there's a very empty spot. And I think expectations are a lot lower now for Denver, but your time to shine.
Well, you're going to complain. You want minutes, you want shots, you want touches. Okay, your best player is now down. Let's see what you're made of. But speaking of what you're made of, we're going to play a little game. And it does involve the trade deadline. We're going to call it Swish or Brick. We're going to keep going with some of the moves in the trade deadline, but we're going to vote if it's a Swish or Brick. So we already mentioned a couple of the moves. So obviously the Nikola Vucevic trade. Do you deem that as a Swish?
Oh, that's a Swish all the way.
Nothing but yeah, that's a Swish on my part. And the Gordon trade?
Obviously a Swish.
Still
a Swish. Still a Swish.
It's still a Swish. Gordon, you know what Gordon could do. He jumped over a fucking car. Oh, no, that was, what's his name?
He did the mascot, right?
Yeah, he jumped over the mascot. My bad. Yeah. All the light-skinned guys look alike.
I get compared to Aaron Gordon all the time.
But how about some other trades? I'm going to go with the Celtics trading for Evan Fournier.
Yep.
What do you think?
You know what, man? It's actually a Swish. Orlando's off-selling, so you know what? I hate giving any kind of compliment to Boston, but Evan Fournier is a good pickup for them. God damn it. I didn't even see that.
I'm going to go brick.
Really?
Yeah, this is a brick because Evan Fournier doesn't push the needle for the Celtics. Yeah. They need a big man. They don't need another guard. They have tons of guards. They got Smart. They have Brown. They have Tatum. Even though Tatum just came back from COVID, they have tons of guard play. Man, that was such a waste. I get it was Orlando Magic fire sale and come one, come all, but nah, this is a brick. Fournier's not gonna do shit. He's been a subpar player for years, and he's always hurt. So that was a brick for me.
Okay, fair enough. I think there's a lot of missed opportunities with this trade deadline that passed.
I think so too. What about the Sixers? Since they didn't land Lowry, what about the Sixers landing George Hill?
Obviously not Lowry, but I think I'm trying not to be so positive. I think for the package that they gave up, though, is a Swish.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Because what they were going to be, what was going around that they were supposed to give up, Masai was asking for them for Lowry, and Lowry is obviously so much better than George Hill, and Lowry puts Philly, competing with Brooklyn for 1-2, and I know Philly's already up there. So George Hill is a nice tier 2, and they didn't have to give up as much. So, again, I think it's a Swish.
No, I agree with a lot what you just said. I'm going to call it a bank shot. Because you know what? George Hill,
yeah,
he's a good player. Do you remember when he was on that Indiana team back in the day with George with Pandemic P and what's his name? Or Jermaine O'Neal was on the latter part of his his career.
When they were that blue collar team,
yeah,
everybody loved them, and they were just so hard in the paint.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, I remember everybody stroking them off.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so he was great because he was traded from San Antonio. He comes from that San Antonio program, and he's been a journeyman. He's a great veteran presence. I just feel for Philly, they just need Simmons to learn how to shoot the damn ball. Learn how to shoot. You have the best center in the game in Joel Embiid. You have weapons all around. You have shooters all around. Why can't you just shoot the ball?
I still remember when at the start of the season he made that fucking 3-pointer. It was top news the next day, and there were replays, and it was a meme out of it. So yeah, the guy needs how to learn how to shoot.
Yeah, that's I think that's what's holding them back. I mean, you know what? Putting George Hill on and it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Simmons off the ball and putting him he can play a 4. He's 6'10". The way he moves, he glides on that basketball court. But like I said, bank shot. It could be really good, but it could be really shit. So,
well, here's what I'll say quickly too about Philly.
Yeah.
even though I think that's a swish, I have no faith in Philly as a playoff team. Like, I'm not choosing them. Like, yeah, if there's an easier matchup when I'm like betting with you online and we're doing all that shit, maybe. But Philly, there's just something missing with that team, I think, mentally and chemistry wise, that I don't know. It worries me. And yeah, you brought up Simmons and all that. There's obviously, my mind would do a complete 180 with Kyle joining the team. But there's something about Philly. I have no faith in them going past winning maybe 2 rounds.
I think they can get to the Eastern Finals because of Doc Rivers. The only problem is Doc Rivers chokes a lot. But other than that, if Doc Rivers, like, if he can just get it, I think he's gotten through to Embiid, because Embiid, basically before he was hurt, was an MVP candidate. He still probably is. I just think it's Simmons. Like, if he can get to Simmons, like, okay, I know you like dishing the ball. I know you like looking cute and all, but can you just shoot the ball like once, twice? Just help us out. Like, if he can get to Simmons and like get this team ready for the playoffs, I think there's a team to be reckoned with. Now, like, if Brooklyn is healthy, nobody's stopping Brooklyn, but Brooklyn's not healthy right now, so I think anything is possible.
Yeah, personal reasons for Brooklyn.
I don't know, Brooklyn stand up. All right, I got one for you.
Okay.
The Clippers receiving Rajon Rondo.
Yeah. So I had that one actually written down right here. Of course, my notes closed. So traded for Lou Williams.
Sweet Lou. Peppercorn Lou.
Yeah. So obviously the Clippers are hoping for Rondo to have his passing glory of years past. That first pass that he used to make, unreal in the playoffs. But I'm just going to say brick, because I don't like Rondo in the slightest, dude. And I don't give a shit about the Clippers. And I do not think he's going to have the effect that they think he's going to have. And I think the Clippers are never going to win. And if they do, whatever, I eat my words. It's the West. But no, brick.
Wow, strong words. Some Clipper hate right there.
Yeah. Steve Ballmer can pay for my soul if he wants.
He probably will too. I'm gonna disagree with you. I think if Rondo, actually, you know who Rondo looks like? He looks like Franklin the Turtle. So if he could like poke his head out of his damn shell and get back on the court, this is a slam dunk, because they finally have a floor general. And you know what's even better than a floor general? Playoff Rondo. If they get this man for the playoffs, yeah, I think the Clippers are scary. I think Kawhi doesn't have to bring the ball up. Pandemic P doesn't have to bring the ball up. And the best thing about it, he will hold these two men accountable. He won't take shit. He doesn't care who you are. I don't care if you got a claw. I don't care if you're a defensive player or a former second team, third team winner in the league. He doesn't give a fuck. He spat in Chris Paul's face. This man does not care. So they need accountability. I think if he can actually get on the court, this is a slam dunk.
Yeah, maybe I'm just drinking the haterade, but like I said, they obviously, and you're talking about the general and what I was saying, that first pass that he's able to get off from the back, that's obviously what they're hoping for. And this is probably going to be one of those usual where you're right and I'm fucking wrong. You'll let me know about it.
Of course, that's what the chat's for.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it doesn't happen. It doesn't work out, and I think it won't. So take that with what you will.
They won't win the championship.
Oh, they're definitely not. They're definitely not.
No, there's still a bunch of pussies at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, strong words from me.
All right, so the Blazer side, them acquiring Norm Powell. Yeah. What do you deem this?
Obviously a swish. Complete swish for them. We talked about it before. Swish on both sides. Gary Trent's an absolute beauty for us. And I already stated it, but we love Norm. And the way Norm plays, he will fit perfectly with that team, the team's culture. The fans are going to love him. The system will work. And you're right. You know what? He may be reaching his ceiling soon. But for where that team's at, he is a perfect complementary piece for them.
I couldn't agree with you more. This is a complete swish. This is a Dame Dollar fucking 3-point swish, walking away, waving bye-bye to Russell Westbrook.
I shot it. Yeah, I shot it. I turned around. I'm not even looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going. I know the game's over. Like that. That's what this is. The intangibles Norm brings. Look out for Portland. Like I said, especially with like a lot of the injuries that are happening right now that have happened. Look out for Portland. No, they're a sleeper, and they're getting. You know what's crazy? They were the injured team. Like McCullough was out, Nurkic was out, and now they're all healthy. This team's going to be a well-oiled machine going in the playoffs.
Yeah, honestly, with Norm, they might be my bandwagon West team now that Jamal's out. I know we're going to get into that in a bit, but I mean, I would love to see them just go nuts in the West. So, yeah, complete swish. I know we both agree. Love it.
All right, I got a curveball one for you.
Okay.
The Nets signed LaMarcus Aldridge.
Swish. What a swish. That guy, the amount of minutes he's going to play, the amount of offense he's going to deliver, that's an absolute swish. He makes that team so much better right away.
I love the sarcasm out of your voice. Actually, this was a swish for me. I think it was the final piece until the sad news that he had to retire, due to an irregular heartbeat, which we're not joking around about that. That's actually pretty sad.
Yeah, I'm joking that it didn't work out for Brooklyn. So, I agree with you too, man. That guy was a baller. I loved watching him play. Like we just spoke about his previous team, man. That guy was all heart. And you want to talk about someone mean sometimes.
No,
so, yeah, you never want to see a guy go out for health reasons. Like, it sucks. You hear it on interviews, no matter what the sport is or who the athlete, you rarely ever get to end your career the way you want it. Like only a few guys get to go out in a blaze of glory and get completely healthy. So, you know what, man, you got kids, family, like just spend time with them. You've done it all. Congrats, dude.
Yeah, exactly. We always forget that these players are humans too. And, that part of their life comes first as much as we want them to play basketball. So it was really sad to hear. It was shocking to see the news that he was retiring. But, all the best to LaMarcus Aldridge. Yeah. All right, so the final one. Your Lake Show signing Andre Drummond.
Yeah. So, man, I wanted him on the Raptors. So I've been fairly positive this whole time with the trade deadline. This is another swish. Drummond is a big body who knows how to use that big body. And that is what I want on this team. It's what we are sorely missing. And I hate when that team gets better.
The rich get richer.
Always, dude. Always.
Yeah. This is a he's on fire swish for me. This man is a beast. I know he can't shoot, and I know he can't, do what Marc Gasol used to be able to do. But guess what? He's a lot younger than Marc Gasol, and Marc Gasol hasn't done shit all this season. So this is a massive upgrade, and having him, AD when he comes back, and LeBron in your front court, Lord have mercy.
God, that's what pisses me off the most too, man. It's like, yeah, you talk about his weaknesses right now in the game, and with his age, they're kind of, but with this team, he doesn't need to do that stuff. He just needs to do what he's good at, and that pisses me off more than anything because he is going to succeed. And I'm telling you right now, man, there is a good chance they'll repeat, and it pisses me off.
There's a strong chance. I mean, unless AD. Actually, let me ask you: if AD doesn't come back and LeBron does, can they still win with LeBron, Schroeder, DeAndre, Kuzma? I'm
going to say, man, we've talked about this. I am done doubting LeBron, Tom Brady from now on. But what I will say is I see them making the NBA Finals without Davis, but not winning.
Yeah, I agree with you. The AD, they need AD because he's just a difference maker.
Yeah.
If they don't have him, I can't see anyone else stepping up like with those numbers.
Like and like I said, we're not going to doubt LeBron because I can totally see the Lakers just going on a magical run without AD and winning it anyways. And LeBron has a new trophy just as Space Jam 2 comes out. Okay, I totally see the marketing advantage for the NBA for letting him win. Maybe conspiracy, I don't know. But with Davis, man, I almost want to just take the Lakers for the win and say they'll repeat when we're doing some little gambling later. But I don't know. I see them going to the finals, but not winning it. There'll be some, Miami maybe.
Ooh, I think it'll remind me. Yeah, it could remind me of, remember when he's in Cleveland and Kevin Love goes down in the first round and then Kyrie goes down in the finals and it's just LeBron left. It might be one of those scenarios.
I remember when Kyrie went down too, people were just giving up. It's funny how people just quickly turn so hard, man.
That's fans, man. there's no loyalty. we want.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, we want production now, and if we see a sense it's over, even though it's not.
Okay, so I'm loving that new brick or Swish segment. We're gonna do that for every trade deadline going forward. So now that we finished that up, off to some sad news. We've already talked about his new teammate. Didn't really get a chance to play, but Canadian stud Jamal Murray, torn ACL in his left knee, season ending. Absolutely brutal. I'm gutted for this kid, man.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Just when you thought the Nuggets were going to push through, because I honestly thought the Nuggets, with that trade, were going to leapfrog and probably get that second spot. That was my assumption, but man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, man. I got a question for you. Is their season over with this injury?
Man, I don't know, because the other guy is having an MVP season. So do my hopes and bandwagon thoughts of them being a really strong, like, Final Four team in the NBA, that's dwindled? Yeah, I definitely think so, man. It might be premature. I don't think so. I don't think their playoff hopes are over, but I would say their championship hopes for this year are over.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think at best they're a second round team, like the Joker.
That's what I'm saying. I still think they're going to get a playoff round win.
Yeah.
They'll play balls out, man.
I think so. I mean, you just lose that pick and roll that him and Murray are so great at. Like I said, and that's where it goes back to Michael Porter Jr. Bro, step up. This is your time to shine.
And it's crazy too. Murray's so young and he's already proven that he can play in the playoffs. Like, it's such a huge blow. They were going to be our bandwagon team, man. I thought, like I said, Final Four, just devastating. And for a Canadian too, like, you just reading all the comments, like all our buddies on Instagram were talking about it. Just everybody in this country, that's just how loyal and beloved we are to, like, our brothers and sisters. It's just like the whole nation was gutted.
Well, you just feel like a little piece of you dies inside too, because you want this man to do well. He's I call him Captain Canada. I think he's the best Canadian player that we have right now.
Yeah.
So for him to go down and not even get an opportunity to compete, for a championship, it's sad.
Well, not only that too, you just brought that up about the Canadian thing. I mean, we have qualifyings coming up. Now we're not going to have Jamal. I definitely think that we have a good chance to still qualify for the Olympics for Team Canada, but yeah, don't see us without Jamal winning a bronze or finishing a top 5. I'm not going to say gold or anything crazy, but we definitely could have had a top 5 finish potentially with Jamal. I think for sure.
Yeah, we'll just get a participation ribbon or something. But
you know what the worst thing too about Murray's injury? Participation. I caught that.
Why they don't give those out in the Olympics?
Is he playing Timbits hockey? I love going over to my friends' houses and they'd have like a trophy case full of medals and stuff, and they're so proud when we're really young, and they're all SO participation medals, Timmy's participant. It's like, oh yeah, sweet, I got that one too. But the worst thing, and it happens in any sport, and this is the worst thing about Murray, is that non-contact injury. Like, when you watch it and the guy doesn't get hit and he goes down shrieking in pain like that, I don't care if it's football, soccer, hockey, baseball, you cringe. Like, you feel it, because it's like his body just gave out. And if an athlete at the top of his game and conditioning, that happens to him, like, that's messed up.
Well, you can relate to it because we all move differently. I mean, some of us jog, some of us play ball, some of us just, we exercise too. But so that could be us. So you're right. When you say we feel it, so yeah, that could have been me.
Non-contact's brutal. It's actually really scary. I hate that. Like, it's one thing, like a hockey injury, guy gets hit from behind, or basketball, guy comes down with an elbow. It's like, all right. But when nobody touches you, oh.
Oh yeah, like when a Vancouver Canuck knee on knees you because he's a dirty fuck. Yeah, that's not fun. But when you and you're playing and you jump up and head the ball and you land and no one's around you and you twist your knee and you're down for a year, yeah, that sucks donkey balls.
Yeah, so we're wishing all the best here for Jamal Murray, buddy. Obviously, season ending. Yeah, we can't wait to see you next year with a hopefully normal NBA season. Okay, on to one of the greatest debates of our lives.
Bring it.
The masses are waiting for our opinions on this. I mean, it's setting the internet ablaze. Melky, I'm going to ask you, Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker?
You know, brother, I thought about this long and hard. Ooh,
dude,
yeah.
A whole page of notes on our verse. I was like, let's go.
This was really tough because I love both players. One, they're going to be they are the futures of the NBA. They're going to be, the staple, the standard for the NBA. I hummed and hawed. I actually twisted and turned in bed thinking about this last night, but I'm going to go with Devin Booker. Now, I'm going with Devin Booker.
I knew you were, yeah.
Yeah, well.
You've been loving Phoenix all year.
Oh, yeah. I've had a massive chub for Phoenix, man.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against Donovan Mitchell. I love Donovan Mitchell. I love his name, the Spider. But Devin Booker's got that like silky smooth shot. He's so expressionless. Like it looks like he's bored on the court, but he's actually just like methodically thinking what he's going to do next. He doesn't need the ball to be effective. This guy moves around. His numbers this season, he's posting 25.5 points a game. His field goal percentage is .485. 3-point is 3.49. His free throws are 8.62. He's always in like the top tier categories. He's less athletic, but that could be a good thing. I think that's longevity where Donovan Mitchell, he's out with an ankle injury right now. He's a slasher more so less prone to get injury. Yeah, I'm going to go. He's a poor man's like Klay Thompson. So I'm going to, without the defense. I'm going to go with Devin Booker.
When you asked me this, it was so hard.
Yeah.
I went back and forth like you. And the crazy thing, man, I kept like, I don't know about you. And I know you did this.
You know me.
You were watching their highlights on YouTube, the comparison videos. You're going onto those Stardom or Situm fantasy websites. We were doing all the research.
Oh, yeah.
The crazy thing is how similar and close they are in almost every stat, dude. Blows my mind. Points, assists, rebound, even their age, man. Just everything about them is so similar.
Everything.
Yeah. So I wrote a couple of things too. Hopefully it doesn't sound too much like I'm reading, but I wrote so many notes. So Booker, yeah, his shot is so silky, like so nasty. His chemistry with Chris Paul and the way he plays inside Phoenix system, it's disgusting to watch. And he's the bigger body than Donovan, and he moves so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's uncanny.
Yeah, 22.9 points average, 3.7 rebounds, 4.7 assists for Booker. Mitchell on Utah, 23.4 points, 4.1 rebounds, 4.3 assists. Mitchell's the only guy with playoff experience. Not a lot. I know that's not a big thing. Mitchell, the only category that Mitchell leads out of these two guys is total steals for over their entire career. Everything else, Booker has him beat on. And it's close. Yeah. It's really close, but he wins in every other category. Like you said, Mitchell is way more athletic, better defensively. He's had to prove himself a lot more with the injuries and the players that Utah has had. I don't think he has such as good of a system as in Phoenix and the players to back him up. So just to go against you, I'm actually going Donovan Mitchell.
I had a feeling. And you're not, I don't think anybody's wrong here. Like if you were to start a franchise with one of these two players, I think you'd be happy either way.
I chose Booker first, straight up. And I was laughing in my head because I'm like, Melky's going to agree. I'll let him go first. And then I'm going to agree with it. And we kept going back and forth. And I'm just watching Mitchell's play. And I mean, record for most 50-point games for a guy under 25. Even though a small amount, the way he's played in the playoffs, he's already proven that he's game time. He's clutch. And I know Booker's proven that with his shot in the regular season. I'm not saying that. And with this Phoenix team, he's going to get a chance to prove it in the offseason. But right now, I'm taking Mitchell, man. I don't know. There's something I'm not saying that Booker has like a personality like Paul George or something like that, but there's some times worries me about his mentality or what he's thinking. Mitchell, I just think is such a great team guy. I would have either of them on the Raptors, but I'm going Mitchell right now.
I think Mitchell has that focus. He's got that, that Kobe Mamba mentality. You could see it. You could see it in his eyes. Where Booker, like I said, Booker kind of looks like he's disinterested half the time. But I think it's just the way he looks. Like he's just got that really stupid look on his face. But you can't go wrong with either player. And don't you find it ironic that both these players played for the first and second seeds in the West?
Yeah. All I want is to see these two play each other.
I'd love this to be the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, we talked about it. I don't know if it was last podcast, which I think it was, but it might have been episode 2 or episode whatever. But I am so fired up for some Western League basketball this year, dude. I am so excited. More than the East. Obviously, Raptors come first, and that's the one I'm most excited for. But if they don't make the playoffs, I'm pretty much all in on the West this year.
I think, especially with the Lakers' injuries, it's wide open. And yeah, like Utah's been lights out since the start of the season, and Phoenix has climbed their way to the second. But there are like wild card teams out there. Like there's Dallas, there's Portland, there's Denver to a lesser extent.
Didn't Dallas just get JJ Redick too? I think
They just got JJ Redick. Actually, what would you deem that? Swish or a brick?
I actually think a Swish.
I think it's a Swish too, because especially since he called out Pelicans GM.
It's funny to me too, man. But I'm getting so disenfranchised with all these like players in every sport just becoming so like, but whatever. But yeah, it is jokes. But yeah, you're right, man. There's so many storylines in the West, like the hate we were talking about from Utah, the jokes during the draft and all that shit. Yeah. They've made me not a lover of Utah, but I'm definitely cheering for them. Phoenix, Phoenix has always been a team just because Steve Nash played for them, like that. I've always been okay with them. But yeah, I mean, Denver, I don't know. I'm just ready for some West. I don't care about Brooklyn. I don't care about Philly. I don't care about Boston. Miami, Atlanta Hawks is actually really enjoyable basketball. I will give credit to them. Like I do like some Atlanta b-ball.
That's a nice story. I just don't think they'll do anything.
Okay, well, I mean, talking about a Gooby segue right here. I just looked at the notes. Shout out Gooby. Speaking of the Atlanta Hawks, are we going to talk about maybe dunk of the year? I know you brought this up. I've been ready to talk about this.
Bro,
Miles Bridges over Clint Capella. Just that bringing it back, the meanness. I mean, posterizing him, disgusting. I just wrote "ooh" with like 7 deltas.
It was nasty. It was sick, wicked, and nasty. I think getting posterized like that, you should be forced to miss a week of basketball to think about how you can not be posterized like that again. He just looked stupid. Bridges got mad hops. Like wasn't he in the dunk contest?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got mad hops. I felt it was filthy. He honestly added the boom to the shakalaka. Like, woo.
You're right though. You should be going to like a rehab spa, like one of those. You're wearing the robe and you're just kind of discussing your feelings. Like, how did that make you feel, Clint?
Yeah. It's like taking notes, a psychiatrist. I think Clint Capella will never be the same again. And you know what? He might not even play in that rotation again.
Man, just the height difference alone. I mean, I was not expecting that from Miles Bridges. I know Miles Bridges can dunk, so I wasn't away expecting that. But I was not expecting to see Clint Capella posterized by him at that moment in the fourth quarter.
It took the words out of my mouth. I think it's the dunk of the year. I don't think anything's going to top that this season. It was just filthy.
The only one that kind of comes close, but does not, because it goes against my boys, was the Anthony Edwards dunk.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty too.
That was mean, and then he looks up to watch his own replay. That's such a swagger move. It pisses me off, but it's like, hate us because you ain't us. But I definitely think this is dunk of the year right now.
Yeah, I think so. Just the elevation on that dunk and just the throwdown. It was like, this is my house. This is my court. Get the fuck off.
Unbelievable. I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it when this pod's done.
We should go. We'll find a good. We'll make that the photo for this. No, you've already made such a beauty. I've already seen the artwork. Never mind. It's beautiful.
We'll come up with something else. Don't worry. We got more episodes. So.
Okay, so for our inaugural season, I mean, this has been a fantastic episode, and we've liked to end every episode with a tribute to one of the best. I mean, he's already talked about the mentality once. We're talking about Kobe. So we've been ending every episode with some of our favorite moments. And, you know, not just our favorite moments, but everyone's favorite moments, just moments of greatness. So, Melky, for episode 4, buddy, why don't you give us your Kobe moment?
Oh, it's the beginning. June 26, 1996, the trade that landed Kobe Bryant. You know, Jerry West, the standard, the logo, the mastermind, sought off this kid, watched him, and traded him for center Vlade Divac. That's probably the steal trade of the century. And that allowed Kobe to start his illustrious career in La La Land. And for everyone to know and for everyone to see Mamba mentality. It's the beginning. That just stuck out to me. Like, Jerry West was so masterful at scouting. He saw the potential in this kid and heisted the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah, amazing moment. I couldn't agree with you more. And in fact, I had a different Kobe moment that I'm actually going to save for next episode because I want to go vintage Kobe moment just like you did. And I'm going to talk about it first as well. And it's his first All-Star game appearance. Madison Square Garden, 19 years old, to this day remains the only teenager to play an All-Star game. Not LeBron, not Zion, not anyone, just Kobe. And Madison Square Garden, you're playing with Karl Malone, Shaquille O'Neal. And to put on a performance like he did, where the NBA's talking about you, kid. What a moment. I mean, just from beginning to end, that whole career, there's so many moments. Like, I mean, we're only going to do it for this first season, but I mean, really, we could just do it forever.
You can talk about Kobe nonstop. He was just that fantastic, illustrious career. He's the pinnacle of like what hard work and greatness really is. Minus Jordan, like Jordan is Jordan, but like Kobe just infused that Mamba mentality. I know we keep saying that, but that's what it is, that Mamba mentality. And there will never be another.
Yeah, you're listening to this podcast. You already know what it is. Like, you're already a fan. You're just nodding your head in agreement while we're saying this, and that's what we expect. And I mean, not to keep it sad and somber, but we also want to give a shout out to Scottie Pippen, going through a hard time right now. He just lost his firstborn son. So you're in our thoughts and prayers. It's a hard time to lose anybody in the basketball family, especially when someone's associated with the legend.
Yeah, the untimely news. It's never easy losing anyone. Just feels like this world right now is a pile of shit with the losses that are amounting. Oh yeah, my heart goes out to the Pippen family too.
Okay, you heard it here, folks. This is the end of the episode, Melky. This has been a fantastic time with you, buddy. We get so excited to do this. I've been waiting patiently for days now, and it's just been fun recapping what's going on.
Yeah, like I just want to thank you for allowing me to take it to the hole and miss spectacularly as always. Catch us on NA30. This man over here has got big things coming out. He's got Leafs, he's got Jays, and what's the other one? You got a third one, right?
Leafs, Jays, Raptors, and gonna have a Nobody Gives a Fuck special, I believe, coming out soon. Yes. So be on the lookout for that. It might have something to do with World of Sports. We're tinkering with an idea, but trust me, don't get sick of me yet.
Yeah, nobody could, man. maybe Goopy though.
Okay, Melky. Any last words, buddy?
Yeah, no. Just catch us on IG at the Wow and Mustard IG page. You can find myself, Bah, Gooby, and John. Feel free to message us on anything. We're up for anything. We love ideas. We're two pretty smart gentlemen, but an idea from a fan here and there never hurts. But yeah, just and if you want to find us on the Not After 30 and listen on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Apple Podcast.
Yeah, please. We started doing that on the Leafs and Jays. Please send in any kind of questions or comments, and at the end of the episode, I'd love to do a little question and answer segment. Would be great.
Yeah, and what are you waiting for? It's just one click away. Boom shakalaka.
All right, folks. This has been Nothing But Miss. I'm Bah. That's Melky. And we'll catch you episode 5. Peace.
He's on fire.
Da-da.